Let's talk about wow words and how I use them in my preschool classroom. Every time we learn a new wow word, it goes in this chart so that we can go over them all year and remember what they are. If you don't know, vocabulary and the amount of words that children know is very closely related to their academic success and their reading ability. So this is how I do it. When you're reading a book and you hear a word that you think that your students might not know, or they ask you, what does that mean? That can be a wow word. Our wow word that I'm showing you today is refuse, and it comes from the book Pinkalicious. I think there's another book, I will not ever eat a tomato. So when we're talking about food, she refuses to eat a tomato. I think that's in there as well. I think so. And so we're talking about, what does refuse mean? So let me find the spot in this book where it says that. It says, after dinner, I ate more cupcakes and I refused to go to bed. Just one more pink cupcake and I'll go to sleep, I promised. Daddy waved a tired finger at me. You have had enough. So what does that mean? She refused to go to bed. It means she said, no way, I'm not doing it. I refuse to go to bed. And then what I do for my students, I hold this up and I say, when you refuse to do something, you are not doing it. Let's talk about food. Is there a food that you refuse to eat that you really don't like? And this is really cute because they're getting to use this language. So they'll raise their hand and say tomatoes. And I say, well, make sure you use that word. And they say, I refuse to eat tomatoes. Broccoli. I refuse to eat broccoli. So then they all are raising their hands to tell me what they don't like to eat and they refuse to eat. So we're going to use this in our everyday language. Another one that I love is when we're learning about the gingerbread man, he's very devious. And so devious means he's lying and he's tricky. So when they see a fox in another book, they're like, oh, look, it's a devious fox. And I'm like, do you think he is devious? So they're using that word. What's another one? Another one of my favorites is astonished. There's a snowman book that I read where they're just astonished. And I'm like, oh, they're just amazed. They're astonished. And so then I'll leave the room for just a minute and my assistant in my room will make sure everybody's really quiet. And I come back in and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am astonished. I didn't even know you were in here. This is so quiet. You're doing such a great job. So we're using those vocabulary words throughout the entire year. The way that I do it is just naturally. In the read-alouds that I have for my classroom, I find those words that you know that preschoolers probably don't know, but can be easily taught to them and they can use it in their everyday vocabulary.